Chapter 61, The Attention of the Navy Headquarters, New Book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Grand Line, Marine Headquarters, Mtlnovel, the conference room door swung open, and Marines filed in. Wow, they're pulling out all the stops, even bringing in guys from the Criminal Investigation Bureau, one admiral muttered, eyeing the assembled crowd. Well, this pirate crew took down Vice Admiral Enigmo and wrecked 2 warships, another replied, adjusting his hat, a flicker of apprehension in his eyes. These rookies are getting out of control. Making this kind of noise right out of the gate. And they poked the bear with Doflamingo, didn't they? A Shichibukai, no less. Heard Enigmo himself had a run-in with Doflamingo too. Shoo. A Marine silenced his neighbor. Thanks to Morgan's sensational newspaper articles, the Shichibukai system was back under the microscope at headquarters, stirring up controversy. Better to watch what they said. What a ballsy bunch, said the first Marine, shifting the topic back to the pirates, understanding his colleague's warning. But a dangerous one, for sure. No doubt about it. If you ask me, we should run them into the New World ASAP. Just the first half of the Grand Line, though. The Marine shook his head, clearly not optimistic about their chances. All right, everyone. Brand new, a captain with green hair and shades, strode to the head of the table, a stack of files in hand, and addressed the assembled brass. Despite being just a captain, he didn't seem fazed by the high-ranking officers. I'm sure you're all familiar with the pirates we're here to discuss today. That he hung photos on the whiteboard, then looked up at his colleagues. The Rhodes Pirates. They've barely set sail, and they've already attacked a Shichibukai's territory and killed Galadius, the original 31 million berry bounty holder from the Don Quixote family with the exploding fruit. After that, several members of the Rhodes Pirates went on to defeat Major General Bastille, Colonel Drake, Colonel Barrow, and Lieutenant Commander Hina. We already had bounties out on them, but just 2 days ago, they pulled off something even bigger. They attacked Tiger Shark Island, practically leveled the place, repelled Vice Admiral Enigmo, and destroyed 2 of our warships. Given the severity of their crimes and their reckless behavior, we're updating their bounties. That he slapped the new posters onto the board. Damn! A collective gasp swept through the room. That's a serious bounty. Well, they did take down Enigmo. That even though repelled was the official term, everyone knew Enigmo had lost a one-on-one fight with the red-haired kid. The first Marine from earlier shut his mouth. And the rest of the crew aren't exactly pushovers either. All elites, huh? Like the captain's a mini Shanks? Speaking of, he's got red hair too. If it wasn't for the age difference, you'd think they were related or something. They changed his title. Had to. Sword Demon was misleading. It's not like he's just a swordsman, and that could screw up the capture efforts. True. The admirals buzzed with conversation, but no one voiced opposition to the bounties. Brand New clapped his hands. No objections. Then let's get these rewards out to the world. I thought with each confirmation, the Rhodes Pirates' new bounties were official, ready to be delivered across the seas by the news crews the next day, in another, smaller room within Marine headquarters. So, Enigmo really lost to the kid in a one-on-one fight? A powerful, purple-haired man asked, tilting his head. That's the word, Bastille, wearing a new horned mask, confirmed hesitantly. Vice Admiral Enigmo isn't talking about it, but judging from the aftermath, he wasn't seriously injured. Still, the kid got away after fighting him one-on-one. That's a fact. The purple-haired man picked up a cup of tea and took a slow sip. His right hand was a prosthetic, but surprisingly agile. You fought him, right? Tell me about this pirate. Bounty posters lay on the table, Rhodes's new one on top. He's weird, Bastille finally said. When I fought him, nothing really stood out. His combat experience and techniques felt pretty raw. Bastille recalled the fight with Rhodes. But he's unbelievably strong. That's what's so strange. Someone who's built like that should have been through a ton of fights, but his skills are so unrefined. What worries me most is how fast he's improving. When we met on Speed a Miles, he picked up the shave technique just by watching it once. He mastered it completely during our fight and seamlessly integrated it into his style. Like I said before, he's not just a swordsman. I'm certain he wasn't a true swordsman back then. He was just exceptionally skilled with a sword. But according to the report from Tiger Shark Island, he's definitely leveled up to swordsman level. The purple-haired man paused. On top of that, he didn't use armament hockey during our fight, only observation hockey. But against Vice Admiral Enigmo, he was using armament hockey and holding his own. Either he was holding back against me, or he learned armament hockey in a matter of days and mastered some seriously advanced techniques. Either way, this pirate is dangerous. Major General Bastille, who had been defeated by Rhodes, gave a grim assessment. I've got a feeling this kid is going to be a major headache for the Navy. No, a calm, powerful voice cut in. The purple-haired man picked up Rhodes's bounty poster. I'll take care of it. Chapter 62, The Strength of the Lieutenant General, Luo's Thoughts, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Man, is the wind ever howling today? Rhodes stood on the small second-floor balcony, loving the sea breeze in his face. It had been 3 days since they left Tiger Shark Island. Neo's youth training manual had all the details on the 6th naval style, including key points and personal experiences, and knights don't fight bare-handed held true as usual. The moment Rhodes held the long sword he'd snatched from Ghost Spider, it became a perfect extension of himself. All the weapons features and the master's techniques flowed into Rhodes without any resistance. At this point, Return of Life was no longer a secret to him. Combining the two, Rhodes had mastered all 6 moves in just 2 days. He'd even caught on to the secret of the 6 styles ultimate technique, the 6 King Spear, which concentrates all the body's power into a single shockwave. He figured he'd master it in just a few days. Finally willing to put down your trophy sword, huh? Nia chuckled, seeing Rhodes emerge from his room empty-handed. Ever since she gave him Neo's training manual 2 days ago, Rhodes had been buried in it. He was making progress, sure, but he'd occasionally pop out to test the 6th form on the ship, and almost every time, he'd be waving that captured sword around like he needed to remind everyone he'd taken down a veteran vice admiral and snagged his personal weapon. The novelty wear off. Yeah, whatever. Rhodes didn't want to talk about his special abilities, so he waved it off and changed the subject. TCH, guys are all the same. New toy, then done with it. Don't read too much into it. Rhodes crossed his arms, cutting off Nia's dangerous train of thought. When it comes to chasing new things, cats are even worse. You got it. I just love what's new and ditch the old. Nia agreed with a nod. Neru, how long until we reach the upside-down mountain? Rhodes moved on, turning to Neru. About an hour, give or take. Neru glanced at the clear sky. The sun was blazing, without a cloud in sight. Good weather's a blessing, especially with our small crew. Bad weather would be a real problem. I don't really believe in fate, but we're getting lucky. So, Rhodes, how strong is the Vice Admiral, really? Shortly after Rhodes came out, Luo emerged from the infirmary. Seeing Rhodes was done with his training dive, Luo finally asked the question burning in his mind. Yesterday's newspaper had their Tiger Shark Island breakout plastered all over it. Alongside their news was another headline: Navy Headquarters Vice Admiral Ghost Spider fights Doflamingo of the Shichibukai. After seeing the paper, Luo learned that Doflamingo had hit Tiger Shark Island right after they left. Rhodes had been right. Doflamingo came straight from the Grand Line to avenge Gladius. If they'd stayed any longer on the island, they'd have run into him for sure. But Luo was focused on something else. The fight between Doflamingo and the Vice Admiral was inconclusive. Did that mean they were evenly matched? And Rhodes had won a one-on-one fight with the Vice Admiral. It wasn't a perfect comparison, with venue, status, and power matchups all playing a part, but Luo needed to know, just how strong was the Vice Admiral who'd gone toe-to-toe with Doflamingo? Strong. Very strong. Rhodes paused to think, then gave his assessment. I had a slight edge in that fight, but that doesn't mean he's weaker than me. The real reason I caught him off guard was because I was constantly changing my rhythm, making him think my stamina was fading. When I went all out, he didn't see it coming, he probably wasn't seriously hurt. If you hadn't warped me back to the ship, Luo, our fight would have kept going. As a veteran lieutenant general and a die-hard Navy hawk, Ghost Spider was undoubtedly powerful. But if we fought again right now, I'd definitely win. Rhodes clenched his fist, full of confidence. You're really asking about Doflamingo's strength, aren't you? Rhodes patted Luo on the shoulder. Don't worry, even if that flamingo showed up right now, I'd punch him into the dirt. Who's worried? Luo instinctively hugged Giku tighter. If I could, I'd beat him myself. Then you need to train hard. I kinda forgot about that lately. But I've got time now, so I'll get you in shape. Seeing the smile on Rhodes' face, Luo's heart sank. Maybe slow and steady wasn't such a bad idea after all. Boss Rode. Pekan and Xia Qi nudged Luo aside, looking at Rode with anticipation. Those two devil fruit users, can we take their fruits? Take their fruits. Genos, who was sprawled on a deck chair with Sisai, perked up his ears. You haven't dealt with them yet? Rode was surprised. He thought they'd been taken care of. Not exactly, but we put a lot of fruit around them. Neru explained. The ship supplies are a little tight, so we've only been giving them a little water for the last couple of days, to save food. Honestly, they're both pretty messed up. I was worried they'd just kick the bucket on us. Neru glanced at Genos, looking like a beached whale on his deck chair. When they first got on board, Nia wanted to spar with Genos, but he immediately found the lounge chair and decided to take root there, sleeping and loafing all day. What kind of monster are you? Just give them a quick death already. We gotta wait for the captain's orders for that kind of thing. Chapter 63 The Second Devil Fruit, New Book, please read. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let's give them a quick, happy ending. Rhodes couldn't help but say this after walking into the storage room below deck and seeing the two guys soaking in the fish tank, since they were both devil fruit users, and one of them was a real pain thanks to the bomb fruit. Peijin and the others had gone with the old method, completely submerging them in seawater, leaving only half their heads above water to breathe. After 2 days of this, their miserable state was starting to get to Rhodes. Alright, let's get this over with. Law's expression was unchanged. Besides being a doctor, he'd seen way worse stuff in his childhood. Genos, wondering what was about to happen, followed them in. Looking at the circle of people and the expectant faces, he suddenly felt nervous. He had a feeling he was about to witness something big. When a devil fruit user dies, their power is reborn randomly somewhere in the ocean. Nia, standing next to Genos, answered his unspoken question. Even though they were always arguing, he was still a crewmate. We're trying to figure out the pattern and make that randomness predictable. Genos's breath hitched. He stared at the scene unfolding. Same rules as always, Matt. Rhodes pointed at Ms. Valentine. Compared to the bomb fruit, the kilogram fruit's potential was way too small. Besides, the Don Quixote family already had someone with a weight-based power, and that guy's potential was way higher. Isolation room. Law smoothly activated his powers and dispatched Ms. Valentine. Nope, didn't work. After 5 minutes, Rhodes shook his head, not too disappointed after seeing no change in the nearby fruit. She was always just a mat. The real prize was the bomb fruit. You're enemies of Baroque works. The boss will get you. Mr. 5, who had woken up, was seriously injured and hadn't eaten in days. He was incredibly weak. Crocodile? You think I'm scared of him? Huh? Crocodile? One of the 7 warlords. The hero of Alabasta. What was his connection to Baroque works? Rhodes facepalmed, seeing the confusion in Mr. 5's eyes. Right, I forgot. You guys in Baroque works don't even know who the boss is. Not wanting to waste time, Rhodes waved at Law to finish him off. He wasn't interested in Mr. 5, just his devil fruit. Graham. Law quickly ended Mr. Five's sentence. The next moment, under everyone's nervous gaze, one of the fruits changed. Yes. Rhodes excitedly held up the fruit with the strange pattern. We did it. He yelled. I told you sacrifices work. My theory's proven. Nelu smiled, watching Rhodes' excitement, and then instructed Pekin and Xia Qi to quickly dispose of the bodies. It actually worked. Genos was stunned, staring at the devil fruit in Rhodes' hand. As a devil fruit user himself, and a rare one at that, Genos had always been a little proud. He didn't have to do anything, just rely on his power for incredible strength, defense, and recovery. His super recovery meant he could outlast even stronger opponents, just like everyone on Tiger Shark Island said. He was a monster. Genos had been content to be lazy and live a quiet life, but now, he realized he'd been too short-sighted. Compared to these guys, they were the real monsters. Genos smiled at his crewmates. Maybe he wanted to be more of a monster too. Hey. Genos spoke, stopping Nia. You busy? Wanna spar sometime? Genos looked away shyly when he saw Nia's surprised expression. I'd love to. Alright, now we have 2 fruits. On deck, Rhodes placed 2 devil fruits in front of him. The explosive fruit lets you expand and detonate yourself and anything you touch. The bomb fruit lets you turn any part of yourself into a bomb. Alright, you too. Take your pick. Rhodes looked at the 2 crewmates. They'd been together for years. He knew them well. Years of training had made them strong. They could make a name for themselves in the Grand Line right now if they wanted. With that strength as a base, either of these fruits would quickly make them even stronger, and both fruits had a lot of potential to grow. Sound kinda the same, right? Peijin rubbed his chin, looking at the fruit. Yeah, doesn't a bomb just explode? Xia Qi scratched his face, looking uncertain at the 2 fruits. Dumbass. They're totally different. Gray, who was watching, couldn't help but explain. There's different kinds of paramecia-type devil fruits. The explosive fruit expands and detonates stuff. Think of it like a superpower. It's the same type as Whitebeard's tremor fruit. The bomb fruit turns you into a bomb. It's more like a superhuman body, like Diamond Jozu, commander of the Whitebeard Pirates 3rd Division. Whoa, didn't know you knew so much. Thought you just knew how to make weapons. Rhodes was surprised. That level of devil fruit knowledge wasn't common even in the North Blue, but everyone had secrets, as long as they were true crewmates. Are you kidding? I'm a freaking scientist. Gray huffed, annoyed. So, which one do you want? Sounds like the explosive fruit might be a little stronger. Peijin thought, stroking his chin. Gladius's battle at Spida Miles had definitely left an impression. Guess I'll take the bomb fruit, then. Peijin grabbed the bomb fruit and took a bite. Chapter 64, The Explosive Duo and the Grand Line. New book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is nasty. Fighting back the urge to gag, Peijin forced the whole devil fruit down. Boss Rhodes got this for them, and he wasn't about to waste a single bite. Seeing him choke it down, the others who'd already eaten theirs exchanged weird looks. They remembered exactly how it tasted the first time. Seriously. Xia Qi was a beat too slow, just watching Peijin wolf down the bomb fruit. You were supposed to eat the explosion fruit. It's the same type as Whitebeard's. Quit whining. Peijin grabbed the explosion fruit and shoved it into Xia Qi's mouth. Ugh, gross. Once you swallow it, you'll feel the changes in your body almost immediately. You two need to get a handle on your new powers ASAP. We're heading into the Grand Line any minute now. Rhodes nodded, watching Peijin and Xia Qi choke down the fruit. Since they set sail, his own power had been growing by leaps and bounds. His golden finger ability had really taken off, boosting his fighting skills like crazy. He'd been worried his crewmates couldn't keep up. Now that the guys had snagged some decent fruits, and with the training they'd been putting in, they should be able to master their abilities pretty quickly and work them into their fighting styles, the explosion fruit and the bomb fruit together. That's a combo he couldn't wait to see in action. Speaking of which, something's been bugging me. Gray looked at Rhodes. Shouldn't we be hiring some more sailors? Just a few of us means we're always slammed. Of course, you're the captain, so it's your call. If the chance comes up, we'll pick up some regular hands, but definitely not around here in the North Sea. Rhodes thought about how they still had to take turns scrubbing decks and swabbing cabins. Even as the captain, he wasn't exempt, he could sure use some grunts to handle the scut work. And maybe a few hot nurses wouldn't hurt either. Thinking about the Whitebeard pirates' nurses, Rhodes grinned to himself, but most of the sailors in the North Sea couldn't handle the stuff we're doing. Thinking back on the battles they'd fought since setting sail, everyone nodded. From the 7 warlords' lieutenants to Navy headquarters rear admirals and vice admirals, the opponents they'd faced would be the stuff of nightmares for most North Sea pirates. Let's wait till we hit the Grand Line. We should be able to find some tougher sailors there. Land ho! Nehru pointed forward. Everyone looked up and saw a gigantic red wall stretching as high as they could see. Still gets you, no matter how many times you've seen it. Rod said, looking at the red line with awe in his voice. Back on Earth, the highest mountain was only 29,000 feet or so, and it was a gradual climb. This red line, though, this 30,000-foot cliff encircled the entire planet, dividing it in two. Just the sight of it, this endless, towering wall of red earth, filled you with a sense of wonder you couldn't shake. That's insane. How the heck do we climb that thing? Nia pointed to a narrow crack in the giant red wall. It looked like a tiny fissure, and a canal ran through it. She'd heard about it, sure, but seeing the waterway leading to the Grand Line with her own eyes was still unbelievable. That's a mountain range over 6 miles high. What kind of power can lift our ship up that? The power of nature, of course. Nehru grabbed the rudder and steered the ship. Because of the currents, the ship would be pulled towards the red line as soon as they entered the channel. If he didn't make the right adjustments, they'd smash right into the wall. That's where at least half the pirates trying to get into the Grand Line met their end. That's why a good navigator was worth his weight in gold. Bang, star, Bepo lugged a wine barrel over and plunked it down in front of everyone. Ritual time. Ritual time. Bepo flapped his arms excitedly, looking around at everyone. It's a thing. Before we go into the Grand Line, everyone says what their dream is. Heck yeah. Sounds epic. Totally cool. Pei Jin and Xia Qi went wild, grabbing Bepo and dancing around. You know it. Rhodes grinned at his crew, then jumped up on the barrel. I'm gonna be the guy with the biggest fist in the world. The breeze picked up as they entered the channel, blowing Rhodes's red hair, and he looked arrogant as hell. I'm gonna be Rhodes's right-hand man and help him get to the top. Nehru followed him onto the barrel, his voice steady and determined. Law hesitated, stepping up to the barrel and drawing a blank. He wanted to kill Doflamingo and avenge Corazon, but his captain was getting stronger too fast. The way Rod talked about it, taking down Doflamingo wasn't a dream, it was just something that had to be done. So what would he do after Doflamingo? I want to find out the truth about this world. Law flashed on Corazon's smile. His fate had started with Corazon's hidden name, D. What was this, D.S. will? Corazon. I want to travel the Grand Line and see everything, Nia shouted. She was so excited that her cat ears popped out again. I'm gonna build an invincible battleship, better than the ancient Pluton. Gray's dream hadn't changed. Bear wants to stay with everyone. And go home again. Of course, I want to help Boss Rod do something big. And I want to be a famous pirate. Pei Jin and Xia Qi climbed on the barrel together, looking like they could conquer the world. As for me, I'm gonna help Rod get to the top, then kick back and relax. Genos glanced at Rod. Becoming the guy with the biggest fist in the world was way harder than becoming Pirate King. But it sounded good, right? Genos stepped up on the barrel. He was a lot more lively than he'd been when they first met. Woof woof. Sisai the little white dog jumped onto the barrel and barked. Then let's go. To the Grand Line. The sails were furled, but the ship was picking up speed. Pulled by the currents, the Polaris raced toward the Red Line, plunging through the waves toward the Grand Line. Chapter 65, The Ruined Pirate Ship, The Mysterious Woman, New Book, Please Read. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Whoa, fast, with Nero, a top-notch navigator, and Gray, the scientist who literally built the polar ship, Rhodes and the crew sailed smoothly into the canal, no wind, no waves. Once inside, the polar ship shot forward, heading straight for the mountain's peak. The sea breeze whipped past Rhodes' ears, and the clouds blurred by. He couldn't help but feel a jolt of excitement. Only after entering the Grand Line can we really get started, star. To the top, Nia shouted as the polar ship suddenly launched out, hung in the air for a split second, and plunged into another canal. This is the canal that connects the other three seas. Mid-air, Rhodes glanced around, seeing currents from all over the world converging at the top of Reverse Mountain. If ships from different seas all arrived at the peak at the same time, they'd probably all be wrecked, and a lot of people would die, star. The polar ship raced down the mountain with the current. Everyone felt almost weightless with gravity and the rushing water. Boo! A deep sound echoed around them. What's that noise? It sounds far off, but it's so clear. What is that? Can't be a Neptune. It's a whale. Rhodes and Nero spoke at the same time. Rhodes knew the story. At the entrance to the Grand Line, a huge island whale named Laboon waited for his crew. Nero was just extremely knowledgeable. Drop the sails. We need to slow down. They quickly lowered the sails, and Nero expertly slowed the Polaris. It's just a whale. Let's blast it with the polar ship's main gun. Gray, itching for a fight, stood beside the bow cannon. The Polaris hadn't even fired a single shot since it launched. You sure about that? Nero gave Gray a strange look. Absolutely. One shot, and that sea beast is toast. Gray stopped mid-sentence, staring at the whale that had just appeared. That thing was more like an island than a whale. Just the head above the water looked like a small island, totally blocking their view. The Polaris firepower probably wouldn't even scratch it. Awesome. Nia's eyes sparkled as she gazed at the massive whale. This is the Grand Line, all right. Barely in the Grand Line, and they'd already encountered a giant whale. This place really was full of surprises and unknowns. Good thing Nero spotted it and slowed us down. Luo stood up, clutching his sword and looking shaken. Crashing into that thing at full speed would have shattered the polar ship instantly. But why's there an island whale at the entrance to the Grand Line? I bet it smashes ships every day. Like that pirate ship over there. Nero carefully steered the polar ship to the edge of the strait. The pirates ahead of them hadn't had a navigator like Nero to sense the danger. A dilapidated pirate ship was docked right next to the polar, its bow smashed, the mast broken, and the hull damaged. The pirates were scrambling to repair it, but it looked hopeless. Even if they got it patched up, one big wave would probably finish it off. Let's get off and take a breather. It'll take a bit for the log pose to record. Rhodes stretched and jumped onto the ground. I might be a pirate now, but I still prefer being on solid ground. The solid ground felt good to Rhodes. Is there anything here? Genos looked around the barren twin capes inside. Log pose? What's that? Nia asked curiously as she followed Rhodes off the ship. You've always wanted to go to the Grand Line, right? Don't you even know this? Rhodes looked at Nia strangely. The magnetic field is messed up in the Grand Line, so regular compasses don't work. You need a log pose. I thought there were some permanent log poses over there, Nero. Wasn't that where you were planning to go? Gray climbed down the ladder. He was happy to be on land. Nah, those were stolen from the Don Quixote family and the Navy. What's a permanent log pose? How do you all know about this? Nia looked stunned. Even Gray knew more about the Grand Line than she did. I'm a scientist. I read stuff, Gray said with a shrug. Meanwhile, on the pirate ship nearby. Damn it. Why's there such a huge whale here? It's an island whale, Captain Borgman. A young woman with long, straight black hair and glasses muttered. She looked more like an office worker than a pirate. They were a pirate crew from the West Blue. They'd set out with grand ambitions of conquering the Grand Line and becoming the next pirate king. but their dream was already shattered by an unusually large whale. Who would have thought that an island whale would be blocking the entrance to the Grand Line? I don't care what kind of whale it is. Boardman was furious. They were at Twin Capes, the entrance to the Grand Line. Except for that old man in the lighthouse, there was no one around. They couldn't even find anyone to fix the ship. The black-haired woman said nothing, just silently stepping back and rethinking her situation. They'd used them to get into the Grand Line, but with their ship destroyed, maybe this was her chance to escape. Her eyes landed on the pirate ship that had just docked nearby. She couldn't see the ship's markings. Could I use them to get to the next island? Joining and leaving. That had become her way of life. Boss, a crew member approached Boardman, flinching as the captain glared at him. He pointed to the Polaris, their ship still in good shape. Boardman turned to look at the Polaris, narrowing his eyes, noticing the shift in his captain's mood. The crew member added quickly, there are only a few of them, and they don't look too strong. Humph. Do you think I'd worry about that? Boardman grinned, patting the crew member on the head. I'm Machete Boardman, with a bounty of 58 million berries. Get a few guys. I want that ship. Chapter 66 Nico Robin, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, you, a gruff voice cut through the air, and a group of tough-looking guys lumbered in front of Rode and his crew. Looks like you got lucky, your ship's still in one piece. The leader, a giant close to 10 feet tall, hefted a huge machete. His bulging muscles gave off a menacing vibe. But, I've got my eye on your boat. Everyone off, or, whoosh, the machete slammed down, the heavy blade hitting the ground with a thud that made the ground tremble. A huge crack spread out from the impact point. I'll do it myself and toss you all overboard. Nia's eyes gleamed with an odd light, getting threatened by some two-bit pirate, Huh, Rode arched an eyebrow, sizing up the thugs, never seen them before. Just run-of-the-mill pirates, but, sensing something, Rode looked past the beefy guy. A flicker of surprise crossed his face. On the ground behind the pirate leader, a bizarre hand with an eye in the palm stared intensely at Rode. When Rode's gaze locked on it, terror flashed in the eye before it dissolved into flower petals and vanished. Back on the pirate ship, a black-haired woman gasped, her heart skipping a beat. It's him, she prided herself on her intel, and she'd recognized Rode instantly. And he spotted me immediately. He's the real deal, plus, that look he gave, he knows who I am, this is some crazy luck, remembering the flower petal eye, a strange glint shone in Rhode's eyes, Nico Robin, the flower fruit user, What's the matter? You scared? Boardman's impatience grew as he watched the red-haired kid mumble to himself. He'd seen plenty of these types, rookies who charged onto the Grand Line and then froze up at the first sign of real trouble. Where did this riffraff crawl out from? Daring to talk trash to us? Nia sneered at the pirates, a trace of disgust on her face. Riffraff? Boardman's face twisted. Ever since he'd sliced a Marine colonel in half with one swing, nobody had dared to talk to him like that. I'm Boardman the Machete, with a 58 million belly bounty. Without another word, Boardman swung his machete, aiming to cleave the woman in two. Bang, a fist shot out, slamming into Boardman's blade. Better not bother Boss Rode with this garbage. Pekin adjusted his hat, a gleam of excitement in his eyes. Perfect chance to test out my new skills. Damn, he beat me to it. Finding no decent opponent, Xia Qi turned her attention to the remaining pirates. Ignoring the fight, Rode changed direction and headed for the pirate ship. Nico Robin was on board. Doubt flashed in Nia's eyes, quickly replaced by excitement. After beating the bad guys, time to plunder the treasure. Any pirate making it to the Grand Line had to have some loot stashed away. Treasure. Nia followed Rode, practically bouncing with glee. Aren't you usually broke? Luo, beside Rode, couldn't help but comment on Nia's behavior. It's not about the money. You're being totally basic, Nia scoffed, her eyes practically sparkling. It's about the thrill of the hunt and the joy of finding treasure. Luo just shook his head. He didn't get it. What do you want? The crew left on the pirate ship watched their captain and officers get pummeled. Then they saw Rode and his crew approaching. They couldn't help but tremble, thump, 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 Rode's steady footsteps were the only answer. As Rode and his crew approached, the pirates gripped their weapons, but their bodies involuntarily recoiled, clearing a path. Weren't you peeping on me earlier? Rode stopped in front of a black-haired woman. She wore glasses, trying to hide her face, but Rode recognized her instantly. My apologies. Meeting Rode's gaze, she faltered, then quickly recovered and offered a smile. I'm not sure how to make amends. You're very sensible. Rode looked at her, surprised. He was just a rookie with a measly 71 million belly bounty. This kind of reaction didn't add up. My bounty isn't as high as yours, Nico Robin. Robin's eyes flickered with panic at being found out, but she struggled to maintain her composure. Seems like you haven't seen the latest paper. Robin maintained a faint smile. You're a pirate with a 210 million belly bounty now. Bounty went up. Rode was taken aback. They hadn't gotten the latest news since crossing Reverse Mountain. That's right. And the others' bounties have increased too. Robin's eyes flicked over to the fight on the shore. Those two are part of the Rod Pirates, but they don't have any bounties at all. Yet those crew members, who aren't even wanted men, can beat a pirate with a 58 million belly bounty. This crew is even stronger than the papers suggest. We can talk bounties later. I admit it was wrong to snoop without permission. Robin's mind raced. This is Gemini Cape. There's no place to hide nearby. And even in town, I can't outrun them. So, how about you let me join you? If you can't beat M, join M. That had always been her motto. She'd use any means to survive in this bleak world, searching for a glimmer of hope. Robin put on her best smile and applied for the job. I'm useful, and I'm good at gathering information. Good idea. Rode nodded. He'd planned to recruit her anyway. After all, she was the only one in the world who could read the ancient texts. It was almost too easy. He couldn't be sure how sincere she was, but once she was on his ship, she'd be one of his sooner or later. Then your first task is to grab everything valuable on this ship. Of course, leave enough food and water for them. I'm not a monster. To be honest, Captain Rode, I only joined them temporarily before entering the Grand Line. But since I'm good at gathering intelligence, I have some status on the ship. Robin led Rode into the cabin like it was the most natural thing in the world. This is where they keep the loot, but the really good stuff should be in the captain's room upstairs. I'll take you there. Rode followed Robin to the captain's room, leaving Nia, Luo, and Beepo to sort through the treasure in the warehouse. Is this what Rode meant by recruiting someone once we get to the Grand Line? Nia stared after them, dumbfounded. Is he always this easygoing? Don't worry. Luo glanced at them, then went back to sorting the treasure, unconcerned. Looks like they're short on cash. Nothing valuable in the warehouse. Rod doesn't make mistakes in this kind of thing. Chapter 67, Kurokas and the Whale Lab, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How'd you get that? After a bit, Rode and Robin emerged from the captain's cabin. Rode clutched a small box, a look of satisfaction on his face. Totally worthless. Nia kicked at the junk on the ground. Taking it back would just be a waste of space. Next, Rode tossed the box to Nia. Whoa, a ton of cash, Nia exclaimed, opening the box without ceremony. That machete-wielding boardman was the type of pirate captain who hoarded all the loot himself, Robin explained. We've cleaned them out, let's head back. After a quick glance at what the others had gathered, Rode led the way off the ship, heading for the Polar. Nia happily skipped after Rode, clutching the box. Luo and Beepo trailed behind, lugging the 2 boxes they'd collected. We're carrying these back to our ship, right? Docs. Robin gave Luo and Beepo a friendly smile. Need a hand? No, thanks. Robin was still a bit wary of this woman who'd so quickly glommed onto their crew, *2 ship's doctors. I'm a ship's doctor too. Beepo felt a sudden surge of affection for the newest member. Even though you're the newbie, you look kinda weak. Let the veterans handle this. You're adorable, Mr. Polar Bear Doctor. Robin smiled at the furry bear. Heh heh. Beepo blushed at the compliment, scratching his head sheepishly, even more adorable. Robin's eyes crinkled. Boss Road, Pekin and Shachi rushed to greet Road as soon as he stepped off the pirate ship. Looks like you two have been working on your skills. You bet. We're ready for the big time. Next time, we're getting a hefty reward. If we don't, Old Man Wolf's gonna be laughing at us behind our backs. There'll be plenty of chances. Road nodded approvingly, eyeing the unconscious pirate sprawled out on the ground. Boom, boom, boom. What's all the racket? A voice boomed out. An old man with a red flower tucked behind his ear, a surprisingly muscular build, and gray hair strode out from the lighthouse. Bunch of rude kids. Sorry. Beepo immediately apologized. Don't be such a pushover, Beepo. Pekin slapped him on the back. What's your problem? You wanna fight, old man? Fight? The visitor frowned, his stern expression giving Pekin a jolt. People die. People die. Pekin's face turned serious, eyes filled with determination. He leaned forward, took a step back, and assumed a fighting stance. He wasn't so easily intimidated. He'd made a pact with Boss Road to do something legendary, and he'd long since accepted the risks. I'm not dying here. Yes, I will die. So you're the one who's gonna die. Pekin's carefully constructed bravado crumbled instantly. Seriously? If that's how it is, don't go around saying stuff like that. Who are you, anyway? Dropping his fighting stance, Pekin asked the old man. It's polite to give your own name before asking for someone else's. So. My name is Kurokas. I'm the lighthouse keeper at Reverse Mountain, 67 years old, Gemini, AB blood type. Kurokas rattled off the information before Pekin could get a word in. You're one annoying old guy. Pekin felt his temper flaring, probably from eating the bomb fruit. He was like a powder keg with a short fuse. You're the pirates who just entered the Grand Line, Kurokas said, glancing at Rhodes' crew without changing his expression. You certainly are energetic. Making a mess of things the moment you arrive. The destructive powers of Pekin and Shachi were plain to see. Sorry for the trouble. Let us treat you to a meal. Rhodes smiled at Kurokas, the Pirate King's ship's doctor. Something's up. Luo's heart skipped a beat at the sight of Rhodes' smile. Whenever he smiled like that, he was planning something. Pekin, go see what food they've got on that ship and bring some down. And bring their chef here, too. What an interesting kid. Soon, everyone was gathered around, drooling at the spread of delicacies laid out before them. It had been ages since they'd had food this good. Rhodes' gaze swept over the spread. This chef's got some serious skills. Nah, forget it. Looking at the short-legged, thick-necked, bearded guy still manning the stove, Rhodes abandoned the idea. That chef was a total pushover, not just because of his looks, of course. All right. Rhodes raised his glass. To celebrate smoothly entering the Grand Line, welcoming new crewmates, and making new friends, cheers. Cheers. Bound and gagged, the machete-wielding boardman watched Rhodes and his crew feast, resentment burning within him. They were eating and drinking everything they'd stolen from his ship. Even the chef. Say, what's the deal with that whale? After a few rounds, Nia couldn't resist asking. She'd noticed Kurokas frequently glancing at the giant whale. His name is Laboon. Kurokas set down his glass and told everyone Laboon's story. Laboon was an island whale who had followed a pirate crew from the West Blue into the Grand Line 50 years ago. Since the Grand Line was so dangerous, the pirates left him at Reverse Mountain, promising to return for him after their journey, but 50 years had passed, and Laboon was still waiting, so, day after day, he slammed his head against the red line, hoping to return to the West Blue and reunite with his friends. What a touching story. After hearing Laboon's tale, Genos lit a cigarette, a hint of tenderness in his eyes. Woof, woof. Sissy, as if understanding the story, jumped into Genos' arms, barking and licking his face. If he keeps ramming the red line like that, he's gonna die. Genos stubbed out his cigarette, then stood up and walked towards Laboon. What's he planning? Nia wondered, watching Genos's back. Rode, seemingly guessing what was about to happen, leaned back in his chair and observed Genos approaching Laboon. Some people say the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. What kind of scumbag quote is that? Oh my God, Captain, I didn't know you were like that. Nia and Robin exclaimed in unison, then exchanged a look, oddly in sync. Don't blame that on me, I didn't say it, Rode protested. I'm just talking about what Genos wants to do. Hey! Laboon, right? Genos walked up to Laboon and shouted. Let's make a promise. Our captain's gonna surpass the Pirate King and become the strongest on the seas. We're gonna sail around the Grand Line and come back here to see you again, until we've circled the Grand Line and returned. Don't hit the red line anymore. Laboon's eyes flickered, looking at Genos, but he didn't react. Haha, you can't just say that. Rode laughed and stood up, patting Genos on the shoulder. Let me tell you something, Genos. Rode held out his fist. In these seas, if you want people to take you seriously, you gotta convince them first. Chapter 68, Rod's Way of Persuasion, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With a burst of speed, Rode shot into the air, appearing above Rab in a flash, boom, that he hammered a fist down on Rab's head. Whoa, the force of the blows sent Rab reeling, his head swinging wildly, slamming into Rhodes, bang, Rhodes used his skywalking technique to reposition himself mid-air, dodging Rab's flailing head, then, another crushing punch landed on Rab's skull. This is insane. No way. Everyone watched in stunned silence as Rhodes pummeled the whale. Rhodes looked tiny next to Rab, but he was clearly winning. This guy, he's a monster, Machete Borgman, still tied up, broke out in a cold sweat watching Rhodes' wild fighting style. Textbook Navy 6 styles, Kurokas commented, taking a sip of his wine. The fight looked impressive, but Rhodes wasn't trying to kill the whale. Compared to the daily pounding Rab took slamming into the red line, Rhodes' punches were nothing. Kurokas was more interested in Rhodes' mastery of the Navy's fighting techniques. What an amazing rookie. Rhodes landed another punch, sending Rab crashing back into the sea, then steadied himself in the air. Whoa! Whoa! Rab exploded out of the water, head covered in scars, charging straight for Rhodes. Hold up! Instead of dodging, Rhodes braced himself, energy surging from within, and met Rab head-on, stopping the whale in its tracks. Incredible willpower, Kurokas thought, a strange light in his eyes. This kid's young, strong, and not just some greedy pirate. This is what you wanted to see, Roger. Rab stared at the tiny human, halting his attack. It was as if the opponent's hands were as solid as the red line itself. Instinct told him this human was far more powerful. Your crew didn't ditch you, and they're not dead. Rhodes said, his voice carrying. Rab seemed confused. They just got lost in the Grand Line. I promise you this, I'm going to sail the Grand Line and find your friends. Until we come back around, you're not slamming into the red line anymore. Rab stared at Rhodes, tears welling up in his eyes. Whoa! This time, it was a joyful sound. See? Rhodes said, landing back on the shore, clapping Genos on the shoulder. That's what you call persuasion. Genos glanced at Rab, who was now happily bellowing, and shook his head. Persuasion, maybe, at least it worked, but... Are his friends really alive? Genos asked. The others looked at Rhodes, even Kurokas seemed to be waiting for an answer. Who knows? Maybe. Brooks probably stuck in the Devil's Triangle, right? Rhodes thought to himself. But we'll definitely be back. Kurokas shook his head and finished his wine, hoping the Rumba pirates were still alive was probably too much, but at least Rab wouldn't be smashing into the Red Line anymore. After filling up on food and drink, Rhodes and his crew boarded the polar ship and raised the sails. "Goodbye, Rab. We'll be back. The bear's gonna miss ya." "Woof woof." Everyone waved as Rab and the Twin Capes lighthouse disappeared in the distance. "Luo, how was the loot?" Rhodes asked, looking at Luo, who was carrying several books. "Amazing." Luo looked up, a hint of awe on his face. "I had no idea Mr. Kurokas was such a skilled doctor." "Yeah, well, he was the doctor on the Pirate King's ship." "The Pirate King?" Everyone was shocked. That seemingly ordinary old man was a legend. "He's been to Laugh Tale." "Incredible. Damn, I should have asked him what the One Piece is." "It's more fun to find out for yourself." Hearing about Kurokas' past, the crew got excited and wanted to turn the ship around. "Oh yeah, here's the log pose." After a while, the conversation shifted back to their route. Nia pointed to the device in front of the helm and asked Neru, "This is it?" "Yep, and just to be safe, I've got a backup too." "Awesome. Look, the needle's already changing direction." "Ocean current." Neru calmly adjusted the rudder and course. The Grand Line's got crazy weather, currents, and magnetic fields, so even with the log pose, you gotta pay attention. You can get thrown off course real easy. What a wild route. Out here, you gotta trust the needle. "So, Kurokas said there are 7 different routes. Where are we headed?" "Whiskey Peak." "Weird name. Anything special about the island?" "You bet." Rhodes said, leaning against the railing. "Baroque Works, remember them? The gang that stole Sisai." "Woof woof." Sisai barked in agreement. "Baroque Works." Robin spoke up. Joining the Rhodes pirates had been surprisingly easy, which made her a little nervous. This wasn't some random pirate crew, these guys were elite, they all seemed close, like they'd known each other for years. Did no one suspect her, a stranger who'd just jumped ship? Despite her doubts, Robin was determined to prove her worth. "I know them. They're a secret criminal organization, and everyone uses code names. They also work as bounty hunters. And Whiskey Peak, being one of the first islands on the Grand Line, is probably a key spot for them." "Nice." Rhodes gave Robin a thumbs up. "Looks like someone's gonna be sharing the intel work with you, Neru." Besides navigating and sniping, Neru also handled intelligence. "So, Baroque Works. They messed with our friends back on Tiger Shark Island." "I wasn't even there." Genos mumbled. "Anyone who messes with my friends is gonna regret it." Rhodes said, ignoring Genos. "We already took out the guys who did it, and Peijin even ate the devil fruit." Genos added. "Our first stop, Whiskey Peak. We're gonna shut down their operation there." "A station? They must have tons of loot." Nia perked up. "You know it. And that loot is ours for the taking." "Ah, so that's the angle," Genos said, finally understanding. Chapter 69 Dazbonis of Whiskey Peak, new book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I see land. The weather on the Grand Line was all over the place. Nairobi had quickly learned that calm weather only meant one thing: land was near, and sure enough, just as things settled down, an island appeared on the horizon. From a distance, it looked like a giant cactus sticking out of the water. "Whiskey Peak," Neru announced, already scanning the island. Just like Rhodes said, it was a town crawling with bounty hunters. "So, what's the plan?" Neru asked, turning to Rhodes. "We going in guns blazing?" "You know it, this island was nothing but a hive of desperate bounty hunters and a Baroque Works base." Rhodes wasn't about to lose any sleep over hitting them hard. "We're pirates. We haven't even pulled off a real heist since we set sail." "How lame is that?" "Hey, we got plenty of loot back at Spida Miles. That was salvage." Rhodes corrected. Salvage isn't the same as a good old-fashioned robbery. You're the captain, you call the shots. Law replied, a smile playing on his lips. They might be sailing under a pirate flag, but they weren't like those bottom-feeding pirates who preyed on civilians. They knew what it was like to suffer, and they weren't about to dish it out to innocent people, but a town run by a criminal organization. Now that was fair game. Welcome, welcome, a hearty welcome. Welcome to Welcome Town, Whiskey Peak. Welcome to the Grand Line. Wow. So handsome. What brave sea dogs. The Polar Tang glided up the river into Whiskey Peak, greeted by a roaring welcome from the crowds lining the banks. People waved flowers and flags, cheering the ship's arrival. Talk about a warm welcome. Is this really the Grand Line? Pirates getting this kind of reception? What? Gray gawked, waving back at the shore, convinced they were all fans of his incredible talent. The Polar Tang slowly docked amidst the cheers. Ahem, welcome. A burly man in his 40s stepped forward as soon as the anchor dropped. My name is Ali Kanmu, and I'm the mayor here. Whiskey Peak is a town known for its brewing and music. Hospitality is our way of life, and our wine flows like the ocean itself. We'd be honored if you'd allow us to throw a banquet in your honor. What do you say? What do you think? Rhodes asked Nehru. He knew Whiskey Peak was a bounty hunter town and Baroque Works hideout, but he still needed Nehru to confirm it. 90% sure. Nehru paused, then looked at the man claiming to be the mayor. Mind telling us, are you with Baroque Works? Ali Kanmu's face flickered, and the other townspeople behind him looked uncomfortable. Confirmed, 100%. Nehru said, getting the full picture with his observation hockey, and nodded to Rhodes. A banquet? To wash away the dust. Rhodes stepped forward, staring at Ali Kanmu. I'd rather do things my way. Hand over all your treasure and booze. Or we'll just take it. Ali Kanmu was taken aback by Rhodes's fierce glare. Why weren't these pirates playing along? Usually, even pirates would take the bait and join the party. Newbies fresh off the Grand Line would always attend the banquet and let their guards down, and even the smart ones would try to gather intel. Of course, they'd all end up as bounties sooner or later. Let's do this. Before Ali Kanmu could respond, the townspeople dropped their act, pulling out weapons from thin air with bloodthirsty grins. Well, we were planning on being hospitable. Ali Kanmu sighed. If you don't want to play nice, fine. Rhodes tilted his head, confused by Ali Kanmu's calm demeanor, and pointed at his own face. Don't you know who I am? The Borgman pirates' newspapers and wanted posters might have sunk into the sea after that run-in with Laboon, and he hadn't seen the latest one. But Robin had said he was a big-shot pirate with a 210 million belly bounty now. Where did these bozos get the guts to attack a 210 million belly pirate? We're bounty hunters. How could we not know our prey? Ali Kanmu's expression didn't change. Rhodes the Crazy Blade, 71 million belly bounty. Nehru, the Black Gun, 44 million belly. Trafalgar Law, the Surgeon of Death, 42 million. Catwoman Nia, 42 million. Bepo. 28 million. Ali Kanmu glanced at Bepo, then stopped talking, so they hadn't seen the latest bounties. Their intel was outdated. Rhodes started to understand, but not completely. Even with those old bounties, they shouldn't be so eager to jump into the fray. Hey, Bepo's got a bounty too. Sorry. Honestly, you're probably worth more if we just sold you. You bastard. Whoa. Bepo, you're getting brave. For a crew just entering the Grand Line, you're pretty tough. Normally, we wouldn't dare mess with a group like you. Ali Kanmu raised his chin. But you just have bad luck. Lord Dazbonis. Ali Kanmu looked toward a muscular, bald man standing nearby. He was built like a brick house, his muscles straining against his clothes. He radiated an aura of competence. Unlike the others itching for a fight, he stood there quietly, studying Rhodes and his crew. What boss means is, if you have a comparable record, you will be directly appointed as Mr. One. Whether it's Crazy Blade Rhodes with a bounty of 71 million belly, or a total bounty of 185 million belly, it's enough to prove your strength. The Messenger of Misfortune is also here and will truthfully report everything he saw to the boss. Chapter 70 Genos' Fighting Style, New Book, please read it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alright then, Dazbonis calmly walked to the front of Rhodes' group, his eyes steady. Dazbonis, Robin gasped, recognizing the man instantly. You know him? Nia glanced at Robin, intrigued. This guy looked strong, and she was itching for a fight. He's from the West Sea like me. He's a notorious killer. Robin whispered to Nia. You a swordsman? Dazbonis asked, eyeing the sword at Rhodes' waist. Guess you could say that, Rhodes replied, studying the imposing figure before him. Quiet, composed, the guy would follow Crocodile into and out of prison later. Seemed pretty loyal, too, nice, star. Swordsman can't beat me. Your fate's sealed. Dazbonis stretched out his hands, his arms morphing into razor-sharp blades. I ate the dice fruit. Every part of my body can turn into a steel blade. Swords can't hurt me. Hold up a sec. Genos stepped forward, positioning himself next to Rhodes. You with Baroque works? I overheard you talking about Mr. One. Genos pulled a one-handed axe from his gear, his eyes locked on Dazbonis. Strictly speaking, I just got an invite. I'm about to join, Dazbonis answered, unsure of where this was going. Figured. Genos turned to Rhodes. I'm not letting the guy who stole Sisai off the hook. Can I take him, Captain? Be my guest. Rhodes grinned. This partner he'd picked up at Tiger Shark Island had a crazy fruit ability and serious strength, but he was usually so laid back. He was practically vibrating with eagerness to fight. That axe is useless, Dazbonis scoffed, glancing at Genos' weapon. Unless you can cut steel, you can't touch me. You never know till you try, Genos countered. So you want to die, huh? Dazbonis surged forward, his bladed hand slashing down at Genos. I'll kill you first, then deal with your captain. Bang! Genos' axe clashed against Dazbonis' attack, creating a deafening roar. The force of the impact tore up the ground around them. Slash mastery. Dazbonis' expression remained unchanged. He raised his palm, each finger transforming into a blade and raining down on Genos. Genos blocked the attack with a second axe, now wielding one in each hand, his eyes fixed on his opponent. This guy's strong, star. He was nothing like that bomb guy. They were in different leagues. He might be outmatched. Genos glanced at the cracked axe, his expression unreadable. If one life isn't enough, I'll use two. If two aren't enough, then three, for however many it takes. No matter what, I'll beat this guy, star. Rending whirlwind. Dazbonis closed the distance instantly, his hands slashing in a cross pattern. A brutal wave of force ripped through Genos' body. Puff, star. Countless wounds bloomed across Genos' chest, blood splattering onto Dazbonis' face. It's over. Not by a long shot. Genos' internal organs were visible through the gaping wounds, yet his face was devoid of fear, as if he weren't the one taking the beating. As Dazbonis closed in, Genos brought his axe down on his head with all his might. Useless, clang, star. The axe connected with Dazbonis' body, producing a sharp metallic sound. I'm a dice fruit user. I can turn my whole body into blades. Not just my fists and feet, but my insides are like solid steel, too. Your axe can't hurt me. Dazbonis raised his head slightly, noticing Genos' writhing organs. A flicker of respect crossed his face. You're that busted up, and you're still fighting. I respect that. But I won't disrespect you by holding back. I'll give you the death you deserve. Dazbonis pressed his hands together, his palms and fingers turning into blades aimed at Genos. Foaming daisy chain, a violent burst erupted from his palms, the intense impact and razor-sharp force slamming into Genos, sending him flying. Bang! Genos's body crashed into the house behind him, the subsequent slash tearing the building apart and burying him under the rubble. Alright, your turn. You've got a loyal subordinate, even if he's a little weak. Dazbonis turned to Rode, unfazed. That last fight was just a warm-up now to finish them off. First of all, he's not a subordinate, he's my partner. Rode said calmly, showing no concern. Secondly, your fight's not over yet. Heads up, he's tougher than he looks, Dazbonis's face twitched, and he looked back at the ruins, tap, 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 footsteps emerged from the dust cloud. Genos reappeared, his presence shocking Dazbonis. Warm-up's over. Genos was covered in blood-stained dust, his clothes were shredded, and his axe was chipped, but his chest was completely unmarked. Let's get this show on the road. Monster. Seeing Genos's bloodshot eyes, that was the first thing that crossed Dazbonis's mind. I saw his guts just a second ago, and now there's not even a scratch. What kind of devil fruit power is that? But if you kill a person, they die. If it doesn't work once, try twice. And if that doesn't work, then 3 times, 4 times, as many times as it takes, everyone can be killed. This was the mindset of Dazbonis, the assassin. Dazbonis extended his arms, countless blades appearing and spinning rapidly. Let's shred you to pieces.